Hey guys, welcome back to the Snapper Chronicles. Today we're coming at you with a little bit of a tool haul that this is two separate hauls, I don't know if I should even call it a haul. It's two separate purchases of different tools. Mostly I got these because of the ratchets, and I'll explain that in a minute. But if you find this content at all interesting or entertaining, could you please give me a like and also subscribe to my channel. Alright, so I went to two different places, and I guess you could say I lucked out this week because they both places had some SK tools. And I went to one place and they had these two. This is the SK 40970 1/4" ratchet, and it had this Dayton Breaker Bar, 3/8 Breaker Bar, in pretty nice shape. There's a little bit of paint on it, but that's no big deal. And this is made in USA, and Dayton is kind of a store brand. I guess Granger, the tool and industrial part distributor Granger, they have their own brand, and it's called Dayton. But they, like many others, contracted out to different tool companies to make their tools for them. This, I suspect, was made by Thorson. I'm not 100% sure, but to me it looks like a Thorson. And I kind of like these breaker bars because I like the way it's thin here and then it flares out into a nice thicker handle. And this one has kind of a flat handle. It's pretty grippy, it's pretty decent, but it's a little bit flatter than you would say like the SK. The SK handles are usually a little bit more aggressive, but this one's it's pretty good. I like it. And that was one purchase. These two I purchased, and I got these two for $4, so I'm pretty happy about that. And then I went to another shop, kind of a bigger you call it second-hand place. And this place, it kind of has tools. Like, I guess they take tools and they put them on the wall in bags, in plastic bags. Let me show you the bag it came in. It came in this bag, and these bags are kind of thin, and usually they always have holes in them. I think tools slip out of them. And this, for these four here, I paid $7. And if it wasn't for the SK being in there, I wouldn't have paid $7 for this. And I'll show you that in a minute. But I just wanted to show you, this is kind of the bag it comes in, and they just hang it on the wall. Different tools, whatever they have. And it's not only tools, it's just a bunch of bric and brac they hang on the wall. Sometimes they have little tool bags like that hanging. And this is a tool bench screwdriver, and you can see the handle is bent, and the tip, if it's focused, the tip is gone pretty much. You can say that this is pretty much garbage. So there's that. And they had this little socket set, and I can tell these socket sets come from kind of like socket sets you would find in tools in the Dollar Tree or the dollar store. These are millimeter sockets. Here is the 8 is that? I think 9mm. And you can tell these are really cheap, and I wouldn't you know, you can't put much torque on these. They're gonna break on you. You can do stuff like finger tight with these. So another garbage. And it came with this other ratchet and plastic switch. You know, this is made in Taiwan or Korea. This comes in those $5 ratchet sets with sockets like the ones I just showed you. And this is another, it works, but another garbage ratchet. So let me get these out of the way. And these are the real tools that we found in the small haul. It's the Dayton and the two SKs, but we've seen the Dayton. There's not much to show there. Here are the two SKs. This one came a little bit better condition than the 3/8. This was from a different store. Chrome and handle, everything looks good on this. It was a little dirty. I cleaned this one up and show you the inside. These are some of my favorite 1/4" ratchets, these SKs, because they're really small, smaller than most modern 1/4" that you find today. And here's the mechanism. I haven't done many videos on SK except for like the more exotic SKs. Like these, I haven't really done a lot of videos on because I figure they're so common that a lot of people wouldn't be interested in them. But I like these 1/4" ones because this is like one of the first fine tooth ratchets, I would say. Round head fine tooth, because this ratchet has like 60 teeth in the head. And they're tiny teeth, but they seem to work well. And we look at the mechanism here. And the mechanism, let me zoom in a little bit. You can see they have tiny teeth on this pawl, and it only has 2 teeth. So I wouldn't go too crazy and try to get something with a lot of torque. Try to put a lot of torque on this. To take this apart, I just put the switch to one side, press down the pawl that's up, and let me try that again. And I wiggle out the switch, but be careful because you got the plunger under the spring and it likes to fly out. Okay. Okay. And here's the pawl. Kind of a different shape of pawl than we're used to seeing in round heads. But you can see there, you see the tiny 2 teeth on there. Not very pronounced either. And that suffices to get this ratcheting. Here's the tiny plunger. And the switch, there's a spring in there. I guess I'll leave that in there. And here is the mechanism housing. A little bit rough. You can see the machining here. You can see the lines, and inside where they cut the channel for the pawl, you see kind of rough lines. Like a lot of a lot of SKs I've done recently, they look really good on the outside, but on the inside you can see they can be a little bit rough. But I will give it to SK. Maybe like a year or two ago, I needed a pawl. Was it a pawl? Yeah, it was a pawl for a 1/4 inch. And I called them up, and they sent me one right away, no charge. And they sent me one, kind of a whole mechanism with the pawl and everything included, with a little bit of lubricant too, all at no charge. So that's pretty cool of SK. And here's the 3/8, and the 3/8 is a little bit dirtier, more worn. There's some pitting here. I didn't go through this one really. I didn't clean it up, so I just wanted to show you what they look kind of right off the bat. And these have these retaining rings holding them together. I took them out already. This is what the rings look like that retain the mechanisms. And here's the inside of the 3/8. Not bad looking. Judging from the outside, I was thinking this one was pretty rough inside, but it looks to be in pretty decent shape inside. The broaching on the teeth, as always with SK, there's always like a little bit of a mismatch. You see some of the teeth are full and some of the tips on the back are kind of missing. And I think I've said this before, I don't believe that this was from use or misuse. Those kind of ground down teeth on the back there, that's just bad broaching. And you can see some teeth over here are full and nice, and then you go around and then you see some of the tips are kind of rounded on some of the teeth. And that's a case, I say, me personally, I go out on a limb and say this is bad broaching. But I've seen worse. I've seen worse than this. This one doesn't look particularly too bad, so I'm happy with it. And here's the mechanism for this one. This one, the teeth look a little bit say deformed or something, but it does ratchet well. I don't know if that was from too much torque or it could be bad machining. There's a look there at the teeth. Only 2 teeth hold these ratchets. These are just 2 teeth ratchets, and you can see how thin the pawls are. But let me take this one apart. Okay. Here's the switch. And oh boy, there's some grease in there. You see it at the bottom? Some thick grease on the plunger. And grab and these pins for the pawl, they are pretty thick. That's one thing about the SKs. They do have thick pawl pins. And here is the pawl. On one side looks okay, then on the other side you can see it looks like it's been mashed some. Not sure if that's from the factory or from misuse. I'm looking at the teeth. The teeth look pretty nice, but it would make sense that these would be harder, that the teeth would be harder than the pawl. So could be a little bit of abuse on the pawl, even though it works well. And you see these pawls, they have two teeth, but they're kind of, the shape is kind of more, how would I say, this shape looks beefier for a thin, for a pawl this thin, and the beefiness here, I guess it lends itself to more strength in this pawl for just having those two teeth. Like if this pawl was a regular shaped pawl, I don't have an example with me right now, but what you usually see in a round head, the pawl shape, if it was thin like this and it had the shape of those pawls, it would probably be weaker. I think this pawl adds strength in the shape here, the profile shape, when given that it's also a thin pawl like that. So I guess they kind of make up for the thinness in the shape here that adds some strength to the pawl. And that's just my theory on that. And here's a look inside the mechanism. This one don't look too bad. It looks a little bit better than the other one. The lines look like they got smoothed out a bit here on the inside of the pawl cavity. It looks like they did try to smooth it out a little bit. And that's what that looks like. Okay, to put this back together, I'll put back together the 3/8. You take your pawl, you line up the hole with the hole there, the hole in the mechanism, and you drop your pin in. Come on, line up. There you go. Like that. Now you take your plunger, you put it in the hole with the spring, and you line it up there with the hole. Now you take a pick or something and you push down that plunger and you just stick it in. Stick in the switch and you see that it's switching. Yep, it's switching. And you take your switch, put it on with the cutout corresponding to the top of the switch like that. And I put it in the middle to get the pawls out of the way. That it makes it a lot easier to get into the mechanism. And then you just take your ring, retention ring, and you put it around the edge there in the channel there, and you compress it, and that's how it all comes together. So yeah, that's about it for this. I guess you can call this a tiny SK haul of some ratchets. And yeah, I just wanted to show this because it's not usually I get to score any SK stuff, especially like twice in a week. And I wanted to show some SK stuff that I usually don't show. It's the more common SK style ratchets. So I just wanted to show you a little bit of that. Okay guys, until next time.